the one thing that's been very important for me in this last year and a half or 2 years is that new filmmakers feel empowered in what happens to their films. And the only way they can feel empowered in making the decisions for their films is if they have the information of what's going on in the business. And that's very difficult in a business that's ever-changing. And it's very difficult because only occasionally do you have experts that can really give you information that is really valid, because so often there are myths about various forms of distribution, and so often even the experts can't keep up with the changes.
My corner of the world is I want people to get out of their houses, and I want people to come to movie theaters. So we're dealing with the film distributors, which the more important part of film distribution, in my view, is the marketing and the publicity that a distributor brings to the game. So when your movie gets picked up for distribution, which is sort of the shorthand way of saying it, from my point of view, that's really what it's the marketing and the publicity, and it's the interest, and it's finding the audience and exposing the audience and creating a want to see from that audience to leave their houses and buy a ticket in a movie theater. And there's a wide range of types of film that covers. At Cinemark now, and since I've joined the company last summer, my goal is to expand our universe into all areas. We want to play Alice in Wonderland, but we also want to play Indian films in the right markets. We want to play every kind and all manner of art and specialized and adventuresome film when we feel it has money in it. That's what we're looking for, and that's we're primarily dealing with the film distributors, and as Michael will tell you, that's the first way in to us is that distributor mounts a campaign, spends the money, creates the publicity, and creates the want to see.
Senda, can you explain to us the difference between pay-per-view and VOD, and when those windows start after the theatrical?
Absolutely. Pay-per-view and VOD, first of all, requires a customer to pay an additional fee. So that's first off. In pay-per-view, and VOD, you can do them in hotels, and you could do them in your home off of residential services like your cable or satellite. So this is the world of pay-per-view VOD.
There's a feeling, and I know it's pretty much a myth, that even though pay-per-view and VOD are becoming more and more popular with the audience, it's not exactly a cash cow.
I have to tell you, the myth is that the money is not enough to greenlight a film. Mm-hmm. Now, in the time period that I've worked in it, that business has grown tenfold. So if you look at other businesses that have had a growth, I don't know of many, especially in the standard studio licensing business, that has had that phenomenal growth. I really believe in it. I know that the promise is out there. I think technology, very similar to what Steve is saying, is that the technology is catching up. I do know that there is some huge opportunity here to be able to release on different platforms. But going back to what you said earlier, the conventional windows and the conventional release pattern is really the strongest way to return as much revenue as possible.
The reason Tina's here is I would really like her to explain what opportunities there are for filmmakers who have short films when knowing that theatrical is like a non-starter as far as short films are concerned.
There were not a lot of places for short films to go until the past couple of years, and where I work, Adam.com, we are putting them on, our internet site. mobile phones, iTunes, Xbox, and it's just, there's not, like we were just talking about revenue a lot, and there's not a lot of revenue involved, but I think the biggest advantage of it is exposure. I mean, we've had some examples at Adam where we've had web series go into the pilot stage at Comedy Central. We're a company that's owned by Comedy Central. We're Comedy Central's outlet for original web comedy programming, whether it's shorts or a web series. And as far as revenue goes, I mean, it's really about, like, if you're working with us, you know, we would eventually possibly, like, fund stuff for you, so that's there. And then for stuff that we acquire, there's also rev share there. And if your short is doing really well on the site, there is potential to make thousands of dollars. Some of our creators have gotten out of rev share, which is a really great thing for them. So there's lots of different ways to get exposure out there with short film that I don't think existed, you know, a few years ago.
We have so many opportunities. How is one in the business to focus on marketing
Right.
their product if it's just like an index of product out there?
There are so many choices, okay? And they're all on demand, but there's so much that's being pushed into your home with all the channels that we have, okay? There's this great menu of on-demand channels, but then there's live TV, and I find it very, very interesting that, you know, I work for CBS. I'm very proud of our heritage, our history, but it is considered in some ways old media. But the one thing that I'm fascinated by is I don't think anything goes away. I think it only gets better. You could never trade in that excitement to go into the movie theater, and you can't beat that. And that's always going to be there, and it's exciting. And the great thing about it, though, is that's the launch pad. You know, that's the commercial for that life of that product.